you started doing podcasts with your friend, invite people on the show, and it turns out prospecting and saying like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? Most people say yes. If you have severe doubt and you feel like you have to do something in exchange, chop up the video as a bribe. By the way, for everybody watching, that's what I do to get some people on the show, because they're like, I'm doing $1 million a month. Why would I talk to you? It's like, well, I'll chop up the video, and they're like, deal. I was like, okay. And they come on the show. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. So it's really not that hard, especially because you're having conversations, you're building industry expertise, you know what's going on. And you started doing that as a service, and you started saying yes to things just to get experience and learn how to do it. And then you said it took so you joined FAFE, right? When did you join the IC? It's been like 3 years now.
Yeah, it's been, So I knew that I was building this audience of physical therapists without really knowing it. And I don't know how, but I think it's because I started interviewing business owners in physical therapy, because there was a time where I was like, maybe I'll run my own business. Maybe I'll run my own clinic. So I'd interview all these influential business owners in physical therapy. And sure enough, a lot of physical therapy business owners would come in and ask or would message me and be like, hey, love the show. And I'm like, that's really cool. And then I started running ads for one of the people I interviewed. They said, hey, could you run some ads for me? And I was like, yeah. And I just was
they said, hey, Will, could you run ads for us?
Yeah, I think I told them I'd run ads for, I think we were talking, so it's conversation. We were talking, and if I remember right, they said something like, hey, Will, tell me about what you do. And I was like, well, I've run some ads for this prosthetics company. And they're like, oh, we're trying to do Facebook ads. And I said, I'm pretty sure I said I'll do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to get my feet wet. I was like, yeah, man, I can't really promise results. I have no clue what I'm doing. And then I went into the library of Dan's FAFE program and was like, well, chiropractors, kind of close to physical therapists. Let's just see if this offer works. And I tweaked it a little bit, and I can't say it sounds weird. I can't say I'm the first person to bring the assessment, paid offer thing to the physical therapy world, but it's definitely made a major push to going that route, where it used to just be like, do you want a discovery visit? It's a very physical therapy term. Do you want to just talk?
Look at your spine. Come in, get a blood pressure check. Yeah.
Yeah. Front end offers to be able to pay for ad spend. And so it was really interesting. That worked. I got a good testimonial from that. And then they introduced me to some other people, and that started. And I really have kept maybe 2 or 3 of those people since then. But we were building a Facebook group simultaneously, my business partner and I, of just teaching digital marketing skills to healthcare providers. And that took off.
So before we go into that, was that purposeful? You're like, I want to build a Facebook group. It kind of I guess we should do this type of thing.
I was getting so many questions. My business partner and I, was a similar guy, also a physical therapist, also knew he was going to hate being a physical therapist. He was trying to learn online courses at the time, and I was studying Facebook ads, and I had maybe 2 or 3 clients. And we were in this other group together, and we get all these questions. People would tag us in these questions of oh, these people know this stuff. And I just kept making the same video over and over and over again for other people. And I reached out to Alex, my business partner, and he's like, dude, me too, man. This is it's so draining. And I was like, well, so we were just let's create a Facebook group. And the craziest thing, this sound crazy for those of you who are following the build a Facebook group to get clients right away. We made free content every single day, Monday through Friday, for a year before we ever had anything to we didn't even know we had anything to offer. We were just literally teaching, we were geeking out about it. And our first paid thing that we got was we had so many people reach out and say, can you guys just organize all these videos and we'll pay you for it? And I remember being like, really?
Money?
Yeah. It's they're in the line. Do you guys not know the Facebook? You can just search topics. And they're like, yeah, it's just, there's so many. If you could just organize them, we'd pay you. And we didn't know what we were doing. So we put it all I downloaded all of them, put them into a ClickFunnels membership thing back in the day. And we made a 2-step post. If we want this thing, we're going to sell it. Sold it for $100, had 100 people buy, and we made our first 10K online that I'd ever money that I'd been whoa, holy cow. That came fast.
At that point, was that brain breaking?
Oh,
you make $10,000 selling a thing and people would be happy about it?
For things that already made. Yeah. And were accessible for free. Right. That was the thing that blew my mind, was I didn't do anything different. I literally just organized them and put them into categories, and people were like, thank you. This is great. I was like,
you're welcome, I think. Right.
Yeah. taught me another lesson of how very few people actually implement things. We learned that on the other side of that, and that's why we don't really
know that very well, Will. Very well.
looking at me with inner circle. No, yeah, which led us to this whole realm of like us getting into coaching and doing more coaching, because we learned that just selling a course was great. We could make money, but we needed results, and we needed results to sell. And we weren't able to get enough people to complete it, that we had to shift our model of what we were doing. And different story of stuff. But yeah, it was an interesting journey, definitely mind-breaking. I made more in like that week than I would have as an entire month as a physical therapist.
And not working.
Right. Like, now I put a lot of work into it to make it happen, but yes, right.
Like, you got to build it, but like, there was no fulfillment after you made the sale. Unlike with PT, you made a sale, and you got to do all the work, right?
And deal with people.
Yes, well, that's like a whole other conversation, right? Was that like your first $10,000 month?
Online, yeah, that would have been, well, yeah, and I mean, it's split between two people, so technically, but yeah. But then a few months after that, we launched another like group coaching program for teaching healthcare providers healthcare business owners how to do Google ads, Facebook ads, in organic social media. And that's when we started to get like 10K a month.
Gotcha. So like your journey was really like, you learned accidentally how to build an audience and authority.
Yep.
Broke your brain about like what people would pay for you.
Yep. Delivered
a whole bunch of free stuff. People were like, I'm going to pay anyway.
Yep.
And you're like, cool. Well, if you want, I can teach you how to do this and keep you accountable. And people said yes to that.